Today, we are diving into how small businesses can leverage social media and digital marketing for growth in an ever-evolving marketplace.
I think that in many areas, AI does give you your time back, and especially for automation. So in this case, identify what channel you want to be, where your audiences are, not the trendy channel, not the one that everybody's on, but really take time to look at the demographics of those channels.
Dear listeners, social media success doesn't come from trying to do it all. It comes from doing the right thing the right way. Take a moment to truly understand your audience. What do they value? What excites them?
But you have to consider of where do you want to put your energies is going to help your business grow, especially if you're in, e-commerce business or a consumer-facing business overall.
Right.
It's an important area to be in.
Welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast, where we celebrate the innovation and resilience driving Canadian entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Kripa Anand, and today we are diving into how small businesses can leverage social media and digital marketing for growth in an ever-evolving marketplace. Joining us is Marta Tryshak, an accomplished entrepreneur and marketing strategist. Marta is the founder of WithLoveGabriel.com and TryMus Group and On Social Sports, and has been recognized in the marketing magazine's Top 30 Under 30. She also shares her expertise as a professor at OCAD University and Seneca Polytechnic. Stay with us as Martha shares her journey and valuable insights into digital marketing strategies for small businesses. Marta, we are honored to have you on this small business podcast. How are you doing today?
Well, thank you so much for having me here.
It's our pleasure. So speaking about social media, it has obviously taken a toll in this time, day and era. Social media has changed how, businesses connect with customers, and especially for small businesses. It's a low cost way to reach more people, build more customers and, increase sales. But small businesses, they don't have the funding for that, right? And they often lag there. So what suggestion would you give to all the people who are listening, who are, they've just started up and who are small entrepreneurs? How should they go about it?
When it comes to social media, it is overwhelming now because you feel like you need this team behind you.
Right.
Copywriters, content producers, strategists, etc. But the fact is, if you go back to its actual essence, it's a community-based tool, right?
Right.
So the most important part for you, whether you're starting a business or, you've been in business for a long time, is to understanding who your customer is.
Exactly.
Or you want them to be. And once you are able to identify that, then pick one or two channels.
Mm-hmm.
And I would encourage taking one channel instead of, picking up all of them and focusing your energies on that. So before you even launch, evaluate what your resources are. Can you do it yourself? There are a lot of tools out there. Canva, changed the game for a lot. And ChatGPT, excellent for
with the developing AI and that coming into the picture now, everything has become 10,000 times easier.
Exactly.
And as it says that AI is replacing human people, you can also say that in a way that AI is also, it's in a way managing your so much work that you have to pay other employees for. You're just doing it on your own and saving so much money, right?
Yes, I think when it comes to AI, the creativity cannot be replaced.
Yes,
and
definitely.
In my industry, there's been a lot of panic. There's a lot of panic for graphic designers. There's a lot of panic, especially for copywriters. They're saying, my goodness, we're not going to have our jobs.
Right.
But the fact is, I think that in many areas, AI does give you your time back, and especially for automation. So in this case, identify what channel you want to be, where your audiences are, not the trendy channel, not the one that everybody's on, but really take time to look at the demographics of those channels and then decide and put your efforts. Look at what your resources are.
Right.
And resources meaning how much time can you actually allocate? If it's half an hour a week, work with that. And the fact is, just dedicate that particular amount of time, use the tools that are available to you, and at the end of the day, if you're not on it, your competition is.
Right.
So it's hard for us to give priority to a lot of things, but you have to consider of where do you want to put your energies that's going to help your business grow, especially if you're in, e-commerce business or a consumer-facing business overall.
Right.
It's an important area to be in.
Right. And people often misjudge social media as doing all the things at the same time. But I think focusing on one particular thing at one time is the key, right?
Yes.
And choosing the right platforms is also the key, as you rightly mentioned. It's not about going with what's in the trend, but it's also about what is the best for you personally.
Exactly.
And that's such a practical approach as well. Now, once the business has chosen its platform, what are some best practices for engaging with the followers and keeping the content relevant, as they say, because it's very important to be relevant in this time. So how to do that?
Keep it human. I think a lot of people forget that on
Wow.
the receiving side of things are people.
Exactly.
And I think that when a business tackles their social media or any form of digital communication, really, they look at it from the standpoint of business.
Right.
What is it that I'm trying to communicate? What do I want people to know about my business? But then if you step back for a moment and think about the fact that people are reading this, people are the ones who are engaging.
Yeah.
And if you put your customer at the center of your communication and at the center of your really storytelling,
right,
your perspective changes from being, I don't want to say self-serving because businesses are there for a reason,
yeah,
but it changes the way you communicate. I always say that
Right.
when it comes to social media, just digital marketing overall, it's a two-way street. It's not
Right.
just you talking to a wall.
Right.
Somebody's there to, well, you're hoping that they're there to receive
Yeah.
a message.
right,
So you want to keep it human, you want to keep it personal, and then make sure that you're delivering value to that receiving end, not just trying to push your own agenda, but considering of what am I offering to the receiving side. I think
Right.
keeping that part, the human aspect of interaction in mind, really changes the way you not only focus on your copy, the way you write, but also the way you communicate. It is a
Right.
community.
yes,
So you want to engage back.
right.
Why is somebody going to be bothering to take the time to engage with you or email you or comment or DM
yeah,
if it's a silence from you?
right.
So in that aspect, keep it a two-way street and keep it human.
I think that's a wonderful advice, and you've put it together so perfectly. So people will not care about your business if it doesn't affect your personal life, right? And I personally believe that marketing, social media, digital marketing, everything is just about the right storytelling. And if it just hits the right nerve, there you go. You've sold your business,
Yeah.
right? Marta, what platforms do you believe holds the most potential in the coming year?
Great question. I think that there are platforms that are dismissed, such as Pinterest.
Mhm.
I've honestly seen some incredible results for
Right.
our e-commerce clients
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to driving direct conversion. And I think, Pinterest is not as popular worldwide. It's mostly saturated within North America, but it drives a lot of value
Right.
in terms of how much you can actually convert from it. So
Right.
I think if you're in e-commerce,
Yeah.
Pinterest is a great place. In terms of which platform, I don't want to say just one platform because it really depends on, first of all, what kind of business you are in, and
Right.
second of all, is who's your demographic,
Right.
right? If
So it
you
varies. Yeah.
exactly. So
Right.
if you are, for example, a law office, I'm not going to tell you to go on TikTok,
Right.
but LinkedIn is probably a pretty good choice for you.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of doing your research and due diligence of looking at who are the demographics that are, leaning towards that particular channel.
Right.
And then deciding based on that. So I'm not going to say just one,
Right.
but when it comes to, I think, a forgotten channel, Pinterest is great. Snapchat is great for younger audiences.
Yeah.
And-
Snapchat is great, but it's not forgotten yet. But Pinterest
yes.
definitely.
Yeah.
Because even back when I was in school a couple
Yeah.
years ago, I was very fascinated by Pinterest because I used to see some crazy posts there, and it
Yeah.
just used to ignite my creativity on a different level, right? But yes, people have, because there are so many new apps coming in, right? It's a flux of different apps every single
Oh yeah.
quarter, I would say. And yeah, I think it's very important to, but still, Pinterest is still on some people's home screen. Still,
Yeah.
it's a widget, right? So some people still have it.
I still use it.
Yeah, I also still use it. So if it's
There you
good,
go.
people are still going to use it, even if it's
Exactly.
forgotten. Yeah, right?
Yes.
Dear listeners, social media success doesn't come from trying to do it all. It comes from doing the right thing the right way. Take a moment to truly understand your audience. What do they value? What excites them? Focus on crafting content that resonates deeply, fosters genuine connections, and provides value. Remember, it's not about being everywhere, but about being impactful where it matters the most. Stay consistent, stay authentic, and results will definitely follow. Now let's hop on to digital marketing.
Yes.
Marta, what trends do you see dominating in the coming year or which have been dominated this last year? How do you see that?
Well, I think AI is a front of the conversation,
Right.
and I think it's going to continue to evolve in terms of its presence, not just in digital marketing, but in
Right.
every aspect of business.
Right.
I do think it's an incredibly helpful aspect, of your personal as well as your business life.
Right.
But when it comes to some of the trends, video content is going to be prominent. It's going to continue. I
Yes.
think that people are really stepping away from reading and they want things to be verbally communicated to them.
Yes. Yes.
So video content and then audio content, of course. So, podcasts and then overall
Right.
are going to be very prominent. But I think another part is when it comes to transparency and
Right.
social responsibility, I think we've been seeing this happen over the last couple of years of brands being held accountable for
Right.
their messaging, but also
Yes.
for their social responsibility.
Right.
But it's also nice to start to see the fact that these tools are becoming a lot more transparent
Right.
with their users and the impact overall on what it has on their everyday lives. So, for example, like Meta ban in Australia right now, the 16
Yes.
caused a lot. But I think
Yeah.
it's interesting to see that social responsibility and the consumer expects it. And I think it's nice the fact that consumer can now hold the brand accountable.
I
for
think it's
what it
all
is that
because of
they're
the
selling.
awareness as well. People are getting more
Yeah.
aware.
Yes,
So it's playing a huge role.
exactly. And transparency, if you think about it,
Yeah.
things like influencer marketing,
Right.
transparency in the communication. Things
Yes.
are a lot less gray now, but a
Yes.
lot more black and white. And it's nice to see the fact that the consumer, customer, etc.,
Right.
is a lot more educated in the way they receive those messages.
I think it's also about being approachable. Earlier, when we used to see commercials on television or somewhere else, we used to think that we don't know what's going behind that camera, right? It was just not possible to meet them. But right now, in the day and era of influencers,
Yeah.
you're seeing them on screen, and the next minute they're sitting right with you, right?
Yeah.
So it is shortened the gap, I would say. And you very rightly said about the video formatting as well.
Mhm.
I think the attention span of people has also lessened.
Oh,
So they've gone from reading to video format, but even in video formats, no one is able, no one wants to watch a video longer than 60 seconds,
Mhm.
right?
Our attention is getting shorter and
Exactly.
shorter and shorter.
Yeah,
And we're trying to capture people's attention faster and faster and faster.
right.
So,
I think the world needs meditation. It needs to slow down
For
a bit
sure.
as well, because I think in all of this, we're losing the focus on our own self somewhere. And it's just so steady and so much is happening that we're just digesting everything that's happening,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
Right. And your perspective is always very insightful. Stay with us after the break. We'll discuss her passion for mentorship and its impact on the small business community.
Hey, you think you know UPS? Yeah, that's us. Everybody knows that. You know what you didn't know? This. Okay, try to keep up. Ocean, us. Ground, rail, air, so us. Guess who? Us. Customs cleared, borders cleared, done. Us. You still with me? Wait for it. Boom. Us. Intelligent, automated, fulfillment. Us. Yep, Healthcare too. Digital your thing? Yeah? Well, book it, ship it, track it. You feeling me yet? Yep. That's all us. That's all UPS.
Four billion people check their email every day. That's 4 billion missed opportunities if your message doesn't make it. To reach your customer's inbox, you need a winning strategy. And Constant Contact delivers. Literally, over 97% deliverability. Elevate your email game with easy-to-use templates, writing assistants powered by AI, and in-depth metrics. Ensuring your email is flawless, delivered, and read. Constant Contact delivers. Give it a try.
At IHG Hotels and Resorts, we're in the business of you.
We're here to help you plug in,
connect, and recharge.
make an impression,
and meet with confidence.
With 19 brands built for business,
your business gets even more rewarding.
With an award-winning loyalty program at 6,000 IHG hotels and resorts worldwide.
Welcome back. Let's continue our conversation with Marta Tryshak and learn more about her role as a mentor and how she's shaping the next generation of entrepreneurs. Now, Marta, how can small businesses balance these cutting-edge trends and also by using traditional methods, I would say? How do they do that?
I think at the end of the day, it's about storytelling.
Yes.
People naturally are interested in good storytelling. If
Yes.
you think about, books, articles,
Right.
movies, shows, it is storytelling, and it's allowing us an opportunity to either see ourselves in that situation or escape from our situation,
Right.
or etc. And I think sometimes when people look at a broader scope of what digital marketing is, it is overwhelming now.
Right.
But at the core of what it is storytelling.
Right.
So focus on what your storytelling is. What is your brand? As a founder, you know your brand best. You are the person who can really be able to speak about it in a manner that is different from somebody else. Because especially if it's a brand that you conceptualize, you are best equipped to be able to translate in terms of what your vision is and ethos. So storytelling is at the forefront. And I think that that's the part that kind of hopefully makes things a lot less intimidating.
Right.
And then balance.
Right.
When it comes to digital marketing, especially social media and founders, I feel like they find it overwhelming because they do have the need to be on it 24 hours. Consider the fact that it is your job.
Right.
And you need to turn off, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Your customer understands because they're people too.
Right.
And finding the balance, I think, is also a very important part. Because burning out when you're trying to do all of that,
Right.
at the end of the day, you can put a lot of effort towards something, you burn out, you just say forget it,
Right.
and then that effort is kind of wasted.
Right.
So pace yourself.
It's about being consistent as well and not just trying to do everything at once.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Listeners, innovation isn't about chasing every new trend. It's about identifying opportunities that truly work for you and your business, whether you're working with a big budget or a small one. The key lies in combining creativity with a well-thought-out strategy. Think outside the box, leverage your unique strengths, and take calculated risks. Remember, sometimes the simplest ideas executed with care and passion can lead to biggest breakthroughs. Now let's talk about your journey as an entrepreneur. As you guys know, Marta has shown great innovation with her launch of On Social Sports, a sports and fitness marketing company. So let's talk about that. What inspired you to launch that, and how was your experience with the TryMus Group? How did it influence this venture? Yeah.
So when it comes to On Social Sports, I've noticed that there was a gap when it came to access for non-for-profit,
Right.
youth organizations within sports, community organizations.
Right.
And they just I mean, most of the non-for-profits don't exactly have insane amounts of advertising money or budgets. So it kind of felt that it was an unfair disadvantage in an area where community is such an important part. So it came from my personal experience within my own community club. I joined rowing, and I noticed that, there was such an opportunity for them to grow, but there was really a lack of support within that communication. So we started offering pro bono programs through TryMus Group, focusing on the community area.
So you filled that gap.
We hopefully, yes.
Yes.
And then what we started to do is noticing that there was a wider need. So we started to catering in particular to that area of a customer. And the reason being is when you are involved with children, there is a lot more responsibility in communication, and especially when it comes to protecting children. So it's very different positioning and strategy, and we wanted to make sure that we were on top of that. And being able to offer it at reasonable, affordable prices, that it puts you at a competitive edge, really.
Yes, it does.
So that's how it led to it.
Very nice. Did you always want to do this?
Marketing?
Yes.
Great question. My background is in architecture and art history.
Oh, wow.
The way I ended up in marketing was I started writing a website in university, 2008. It kind of grew quite a bit in Canada. And I started having opportunities with brands. Before influencer marketing was a thing, the brands started to approach me to kind of work with them. And then the opportunity presented for me to start something of my own. I was young. I was ambitious. When you're young, you don't have very much to lose. So I was like, we're going to do this. And
you took the risk, and here you are.
Exactly. And then as social media and influencer marketing began to evolve, that's when I kind of got more into it. So was I always wanted to be in it? No, because it didn't really exist in the manner that it does now. But it presented itself.
All these things weren't even a thing back then, right?
Exactly, yeah. So I guess it kind of landed very organically in my life. But I do enjoy it. I really enjoy the communication. I enjoy the community. And social responsibility is very important to me.
So next, I'd really want to ask you, how do you combine your love for marketing with keeping up with the trends in the sports and fitness industry? How do you deal with it?
Well, my second part is teaching. Also, I work as a professor. So for me, it's very important that I'm always on top of what's happening within the industry. But also being able to lead a conversation in a manner that is beneficial to the next generation of marketers. So between the balance of the two, I think each one helps the other. Because as a teacher, you want to have practical knowledge. Theoretical is wonderful. But application is very important.
Exactly.
And then if you are teaching, you have to stay on top of these things. So the two work really nicely together. And it kind of offers me to kind of be able to put two hats on, which is great.
They complement each other. And very few people have two such, genres of businesses where they overlap and such greatly so. So amazing. Dear listeners, expansion isn't just about growing bigger. It's about growing smarter. It's about seizing opportunities that align with your values, your vision, and your expertise. Growth should feel purposeful and not empowering. Not overwhelming. Don't hesitate to step out of your comfort zone and explore new horizons. When your passion meets a well-executed plan, the possibilities are endless. Keep dreaming, keep building, and never stop exploring. Now let's shift gears and talk about your work as a mentor and your contributions to the small business community. Being an entrepreneur isn't just about personal success, right? It's about creating a legacy and lifting others as well. Marta, your commitment to mentorship and supporting small businesses is first of all truly inspiring. I'd like to acknowledge that. Why is mentorship such an important part of your journey, and how does it shape the broader ecosystem in today's society?
I think mentorship is everything. But for me, especially as a young woman, when I first started off 15 years ago, it was kind of a wild west of an industry to pursue. And there are certain women in particular
Right.
that set the example for me or have given me opportunities. So I think that no man is an island. And at the end of the day, being able to give, it's not even really about giving back. It's just being able to
Receive,
but also being able to kind of
transcend,
offer that support to somebody else that has given you that.
Right.
I think it's one of the greatest things. That's part of the reason why I enjoy teaching, but part of the reason with mentoring, especially when you give your time and donate your time, there's a lot of coaches out there.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's wonderful. But at the end of the day, there should be people you can just turn to for advice.
Right.
I've had those people. In particular, as I said, as a young woman, having women to turn to has helped me a lot. I hope to be that person that somebody can turn to as well.
Wow. So just a quick follow-up question for you just said. So these women in your life, were they your family, your friends, or your where were these women?
Where were they?
Yeah.
No, actually, I mean, in my personal life, I have really strong women to look up to, 100%.
Right.
But these women were just people I met by chance in work. So
it was destiny.
That's a good way to put it, yes. So in particular, like Lisa Resnick, when I was in my early 20s, I think we're looking at 2010, 2012, she gave me an opportunity. She at the time was the director of marketing with Cadillac Fairview, and she gave me an opportunity to work with Shore Gardens Shopping Mall.
Mm-hmm.
I came to her with an idea, a wild idea in terms of content and community. And she probably looked at me like this crazy kid. But she gave me an opportunity. And then later, once I started my agency, she gave me another opportunity to be able to do the strategy. And sometimes you need people who will believe in your crazy.
Right.
I was lucky enough to cross paths with those women just by chance.
Right.
Another one is like Cynthia Bond. We're talking like 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
She was Starwood Canada director of I think PR at the time. Now they're Marriott, but and she's retired since. Wonderful. Yeah. Again, gave me an opportunity that I really opened a lot of doors for me. But then if you look even at people who you cross paths through education, I had a professor, Christy Anderson. She teaches still at U of T, and I just really admired her. And then luckily I once came to her office and I said, I would love to be your assistant, and she actually gave me a job. And
wow.
I really looked up to her from the standpoint of an incredibly high-achieving woman with still a balance of personal life. And sometimes it's just those people that you look up to that makes a big difference, because it's hard to see yourself going somewhere where you don't really have any reference point.
Right.
So,
wow. I'm really overwhelmed by that answer, because, all of us we cross paths with such people, but I think it's really important. And what I learned from you today is it's on you if you want to pounce on that opportunity, right? No one's going to spoon feed you the opportunity. You have to, and also if you want to start your own business and be a successful entrepreneur, you need to have a little bit of crazy in yourself as well. You also need to find that someone who believes in your crazy. And if you don't, just believe in yourself, I think, right?
Yeah, 100%. Also, honestly, being an immigrant, doors don't just open for you. You just gotta go.
You need to knock
a lot of doors. For one to open.
Right. Even if 5 won't open, 2 at least will, right?
Yeah. 100%.
Perfect. So, can you share any specific mentorship story that you have which worked in your life, where you've mentored someone or someone's mentored you? Either way.
I think for me, I can speak a lot from me receiving it,
right,
versus giving. I mean, I think the individuals who received it would be better to talk about it. But in my case, like I've said, there are women that have really helped me kind of come into my own as an entrepreneur, just by either giving opportunity from the standpoint of believing in you and encouraging you, or opportunity really of their time.
Right.
I think it's so important to reach out to people and for people to actually be open to give their time. I think, time is we are so short on it, and it's so easy to dismiss.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I think the opportunity to be able to share your experience with somebody could have a very big impact.
Right.
So in my instance, it's been having people that I can turn to, people who've given open doors for me.
Right.
It's made my career. It really, really has.
Wow.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now let's discuss what the next year has in store for you, because I'm sure a lot of new ventures and a lot of exciting things are coming up. So as 2025 approaches, it's the perfect time to reflect and plan.
Yes.
Your ventures have already grown impressively, and I'm very excited to see what's next for you. So what are some of the goals that you have set up for the next year?
For me, for next year, I'm really trying to find a balance between myself as an entrepreneur, the business, the education area.
Wow.
So as I mentioned, the way I ended up in marketing is through a website.
Right.
I'm going back to writing mostly for myself. I really miss the area of just being able to communicate and share. So I'm restarting my website and dedicating time to write. Started with Love Gabrielle 2008. Still maintained it, but now definitely it's at a forefront.
Yeah.
In terms of TryMus Group and on social sports, we're really focusing at our customers, our customer needs, and introducing solutions that are accessible.
Wow.
We don't want people to feel excluded and not have opportunities just because finances are a barrier.
Right.
In terms of teaching, I think I really enjoy spending the time with my students.
Right.
And I look forward to
it's like a second family, right?
Yeah. It's really nice to be able to actually share what you have, the knowledge you've acquired, and see somebody apply it. Wow. I love seeing some of my students when they connect with me, 2-3 years later, to be like, hey, look at the job I got. And I was like, that's awesome.
And you somehow take credit of all of this, because you never know how you inspire someone, right? Even if you don't inspire someone directly, you never know. They might have heard something you said, or they might have observed something about you, and they just fall in love with you head over heels, right?
Or it can go the other way, how you discourage a person, right?
Yes, definitely.
There's two sides of a pendulum of how you conduct yourself with people.
Right. Perfect. So now, before we let you go, Martha, is there any last advice that you would like to give to all our listeners? Because there are a lot of young people who are listening to your podcast as well. So what would you like to say to them?
What would I like to say to them? Gotta have the crazy. At the end of the day, keep the crazy. Don't shy away from it.
Right.
But when it comes to business, keep in mind that it's a human relationship.
Right.
I think people have a tendency to take out the human element out of business.
Right.
But at the forefront...
Because they get too technical.
Exactly. At the forefront of every business are people, right? So don't forget to keep the human element.
That's great advice, Martha. It was a pleasure talking to you today, and all the things that you shared, I'm sure everyone is going to apply that, including myself. And thank you for this learning opportunity. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Listeners, today's episode with Marta Tryshak was packed with insights on social media marketing, the evolving digital landscape, and the power of mentorship. Martha reminded us of the importance of adaptability, creativity, and community in driving small businesses' success. We'd like to thank our partners RBC, UPS, Constant Contact, IHG Hotels and Resorts, and Google for their unwavering support in making this podcast possible. For more such inspiring and insightful content, be sure to visit our official website, www.canadiansme.ca, and subscribe to the Canadian SME Small Business Magazine. Until next time, this is Kripa Anand signing off. Take care and see you in the next episode.